The billionaire opened the door. But what he saw his fiancée hiding left him speechless. Ethan Cole would remember that sound for the rest of his life, a muffled cry coming from behind his own bedroom door. He had flown home early to surprise his fiancée before their wedding. Instead, when he pushed the door open, he found Grace, the woman who had worked in his house for 11 years, tied to the bed with tape across her mouth. Vanessa stood beside her, calm and still. Ethan's voice shook. "Vanessa, what did you do?" Nobody in that room was ready for the answer. Ethan Cole owned half of downtown Charleston, but he never forgot where he came from. His mother had cleaned houses for a living, and that was part of why Grace Bennett mattered so much to him. She wasn't just staff. She had raised him almost as much as his own mother had, staying late when he was sick, telling him the truth when no one else would. When his father passed, Grace was the one who sat with him in the kitchen until sunrise. Vanessa Hale came into his life 2 years later, beautiful, charming, and always ready with the right words. Ethan believed he had finally found his person. But lately, Grace had been quiet around Vanessa, distant, almost afraid. Ethan told himself it was nothing. He was wrong. That morning, Ethan had a work call before his flight, so he told Vanessa he would be home by evening. What he didn't know was that Grace had gone into the study to water the plants and noticed a drawer left slightly open. Inside was an envelope with a name on it that wasn't Vanessa's. Grace didn't touch it. She simply closed the drawer and walked away, telling herself it wasn't her business. But Vanessa saw her leaving that room, and her face changed instantly. "What were you doing in there?" she asked, her voice sharp in a way Grace had never heard before. Grace tried to explain, but Vanessa wasn't listening anymore. She was already reaching for her phone, already deciding what she needed to do before Ethan came home. Grace didn't understand yet how far Vanessa would go to protect her secret. By the time Ethan's car turned onto the driveway, Grace had already tried to leave twice, and twice Vanessa had stopped her. "You're not going anywhere until we talk," Vanessa said, her calm voice somehow more frightening than shouting. Grace felt her heart pounding. She thought of her son waiting for her at home, and she thought of 11 years of loyalty being erased in a single afternoon. She didn't know what Vanessa was capable of, not really, not until it was too late to walk away. In the back of her mind, one detail kept returning. That envelope, that unfamiliar name, the way Vanessa's hands had trembled when she saw it. Grace had only wanted to protect the flowers on the windowsill. Instead, she had found something Vanessa needed the world to never see. And now, with Ethan's footsteps echoing up the staircase, there was no more time to explain anything at all. The envelope Grace had seen belonged to a man named Richard Hale, Vanessa's husband. Not her ex-husband. Her husband, still married, still very much alive, living 2 states away and completely unaware that his wife was engaged to a billionaire in South Carolina. Grace had recognized the name from an old holiday card, tucked away and forgotten in a drawer that was never meant to be opened. Vanessa had spent 3 years building a new life, a new story, and Grace had almost seen straight through it in less than a minute. When Ethan's key turned in the front door, Vanessa made her choice. She would rather silence the truth for a few more hours than lose everything she had worked for. She told herself it wouldn't hurt Grace, that it was only until she could explain things her own way. But standing in that room, watching Grace's frightened eyes, even Vanessa knew there was no explanation that would make this right. Ethan's voice came from downstairs, calling her name, warm and trusting, completely unaware of what he was about to walk into. Ethan didn't wait for an answer. He crossed the room in 3 steps and pulled the tape gently from Grace's mouth. "I'm so sorry," he whispered, untying her wrists with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Grace, still catching her breath, looked at him and said only, "Check the drawer in your study." Ethan turned to Vanessa. For the first time since he'd known her, she had nothing to say. He walked to the study, opened the drawer, and found the envelope Grace had never touched. Richard Hale. Married. Still married to the woman standing in his bedroom. Ethan sat down slowly, the weight of 2 years settling on him all at once. Vanessa tried to explain that she had been planning to tell him that she loved him, that none of it changed how she felt. Ethan simply shook his head. You tied up a woman who has been more loyal to me than anyone in my life to protect a lie, he said quietly. That tells me everything I need to know. Vanessa left that night and she never came back. In the weeks that followed, Ethan made sure Grace knew exactly how much she mattered. He paid for her son's college tuition in full, something Grace had been quietly saving for since the boy was born. He offered her a new position overseeing his household staff, with a salary that finally matched the trust he had always placed in her. But more than anything, he made sure she knew she was family, not an employee who happened to live nearby. Grace cried the day he told her, not because of the money, but because for the first time in 11 years, someone had truly seen her. Ethan never got his fairy tale wedding that year. What he got instead was something more lasting, the truth, and the chance to build his life around people who deserved his trust. Sometimes the people closest to us are hiding something. And sometimes, the ones we almost overlook are the only ones telling us the truth all along. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still believes kindness can change the world. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below.